So some of the hardest moments in life are not when people leave you, not even when life fall apart. The hardest moment is when you pray and you hear nothing back. You pray before sleeping, you pray when you are weak, you ask God for strength, for peace, for direction, for just one sign that is there. But instead, what you get is silence. And after a while, silence starts messing with your head. Because now you're wondering, God, are you listening? Did I do something wrong? Why does it feel like everyone hears from you except me? Why are you quiet when I need you the most? A lot of people won't admit this out loud because they think it sounds unspiritual. The thing is that many believers secretly struggle with feeling abandoned by God. Even strong believers, even people with faith, even people in the Bible. One thing nobody tells you enough is this. Just because of God is silent doesn't mean he's absent. Some of you need to hear that deeply today. Because sometimes we expect God to move loudly. We expect instant answer, immediate breakthrough, clear signs. But God often works in ways that won't match our timing. And that can be frustrating, especially when you're tired. Especially when you have been holding something for so long. When you have been trying to stay faithful while secretly you're empty. Some of you watching this have been pretending that you're okay spiritually. But deep down, you feel exhausted. You still pray, but it feels like routine now. You still believe, but you feel disconnected. You still worship, but your heart feels forgotten. But here's a story in the Bible that always hits me. When I think about this, the story of David. People love talking about the part where David killed Goliath. People love talking about the victory. But not enough people talk about the waiting. David was anointed king long ever before he became king. Imagine that God gave you a promise, then life got harder. Instead of immediately stepping into purpose, David spent years running, hiding, struggling, and feeling haunted. Can you imagine how confusing that must have felt? God, you chose me, so why does life still feel painful? Why does it feel like I'm stuck in survival mode? And that is where many people are right now. You love God, you are trying, but life still feels confusing. You thought by now things will improve, doors will open, peace will come, healing will happen, but instead you are feeling stuck in a season you don't even understand. But something important happens in silence. God does deep work there. The problem is that we usually value only visible blessings. We celebrate open doors, miracles, breakthrough, success, but some of God's great work happen internally first. God can build your character, strengthen your faith, humble your heart, remove unhealthy attachments, prepare you for something that you are not ready for yet. And preparation really feels exciting when it's happening. Sometimes God is quiet because He is developing something inside you that matters more than immediate comfort. I know that is not always the answer people want, because when you're hurting, you want it right now. But think about this. If God instantly removed every struggle, would we continue learning dependency on Him? Some of the deepest relationships with God we are built in seasons that never made sense. Not mountaintop seasons, but in the wilderness. That is where trust becomes real. Anybody can praise God when everything is working. But when life is heavier, uncertainty, when prayer seems unanswered, when doors stay closed and you still choose to trust Him, that kind of faith changes you. And I think some watching this need to stop interpreting silence as rejection, because silence is not always punishment. Silence is process. God is teaching you to walk by faith and not by constant emotional assurance. Because feelings change, but God character doesn't. And I know it's hard, especially when you see other people get their breakthrough. That comparison can quietly make you feel worse. You start asking, why them and not me? Why is everyone moving forward? Did God skip you? But your story is not late. Your life is not forgotten. And your current season is not the final chapter. One thing I've learned is that God often looks silent before one major change. Not always visible change immediately, but internal change first. A kind of change that transforms who you are. And some of you are stronger now than you are a year ago. Not because life became easy, because suffering forced you to grow. You pray different now. You think different now. You see life different now. Pain matured you. Waiting matured you. Silence matured you. And even though you hated those seasons, they all shaped you. There's a verse that says, be still and know that I'm your God. That verse sounds beautiful when you see you actually have to live it. Because being still is hard when your mind is actually full of anxiety. Being still is hard when you feel emotionally drained. Sometimes faith is refusing to give up while you keep waiting. Not having every answers. Not feeling spiritually hyped every day. Just continuing to trust even in quiet seasons. And if you're being honest, some of the strongest faith doesn't happen dramatic. Sometimes strong faith looks like praying even while you are discouraged, choosing not to quit, believing that God still have a purpose for your life. That matters more than you think. You don't need to fake being strong with God. You can be honest. The Bible is full of people who cried, doubted, struggled, and questioned things. God is not scared of your emotion. He already sees your heart anyway. So if you feel tired, tell him. If you feel confused, tell him. If you feel abandoned, tell him. Real relationship with God is not pretending. And today, this message is your reminder that God has not disappeared from your life. Even if the answers are delayed, even if the breakthrough hasn't happened, the healing feels slow, the direction isn't clear, God is still present, still working, still listening, even in silence, especially in silence. And one day, you will look back at this season and realize the moment you thought God left were actually the moment He carried you the most. So don't give up now, not here, not in this season, because silence is not the end of your story.